evening and welcome to tonight's bulletin, this 21st day of January 2021. You're watching News Tonight on TV 47 with me, Ruth Mulandi. But first, the highlights. Clashes continue in Kapedo. Member of Parliament William Kamket arrested in Nairobi but was released on a free bond. But the pain is evident in those who have lost their kins. 3 churches touched in Otamba area, Kisii. Unknown people are said to have invaded 3 churches in the area in the wee hours and committed the arson. And the Kenya Medical Research Institute warns that COVID-19 cases and deaths will peak in mid-March due to reopening of schools. Welcome. At least 3 churches have been torched in Otamba sub-location, Kisii County, by unknown youth. Residents are now calling for investigations into the attack.
After torching St. Monica Otamba Catholic Church and soiling its inner walls with stool, the arsonist went for 2 other churches and residential houses in the area, razing them.
Kwa usiku saa 6 nikapigiwa simu, nikaambiwa kanisa yetu inachomeka. Nikachukua step ya kupigia badi simu, badi akaniambia saa hii usiku wacha tuvumilie mpaka asubuhi. Nilikuja asubuhi saa 1 yenyewe nikapata kanisa yetu imejomwa.
Sasa wakati nilikuwa na watu wanaendelea kuzima hii moto, kuna kanisa iko karibu ambayo inaitwa Nyangeni SDA Church ambapo kuna maji ndani. Wakati tulijaribu kwenda kuchukua maji ndio tusimie kanisa ingine, tukapata ya kwamba hiyo kanisa pia iko na moto ndani.
Shocked faithful and residents of Otamba sublocation, Kisii Central Sub-County, have condemned the torching of their churches in what has never been witnessed before. Property of unknown value were either stolen or consumed by the inferno. Area Assistant Chief Thaddeus Omosa confirmed the incidents and urged the residents to be on the lookout and identify the suspects so as to report them to the government security agencies.
Mahali ambapo vitendo kama hivyo vimefanyika, hawa ambao wanasimamia pale kuangalie kuona ya kwamba ni watu gani wamewekwa katika eneo hilo, hasa wale tunaita kama ikiwa ni vijana, ikiwa ni watu wameingiliwa na shetani, kwa sababu watu wengi walikuwa wanasema ni kitendo cha shetani.
Kanisa langu la Adventista nimeshangaa kusikia kwamba lilichomwa usiku. Sasa niliitwa nikuja kushuhudia kwamba kanisa kweli lilichomwa na nimeona kwamba limechomwa. Sasa kitu tunasema kwamba wao waliotenda hivi ni wenye dhambi, sio watu wameokoka.
Father Lawrence Nyanga of Kisii University Chaplain condemned the incidents and petitioned the authorities to investigate allegations and necessary action taken.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says the government has distributed face masks to all needy learners in the country. Meanwhile, learners from arid and semi-arid regions will be receiving food from the government school feeding program. The CS was speaking in Taita Taveta County.
Have you seen any child without mask here? The answer is no. Every child in the classroom is masked. Do you know when they will require other masks? You don't. So if I had masks, I would be very stupid to dish them out like groundnuts. we have mask banks across the country. Right now, we have a mask bank here in Mombasa. We have a mask bank in Nakuru. We have one in Eldoret. We have one in Kisumu. And we are going to expand them to the county level, not to be dished out so that they can disappear. Are we together here?
Now, women leaders from minority communities have thrown their weight behind the BBI report so as to end historical injustices that the communities have faced. The leaders say the BBI report has also safeguarded women leadership by the leaders, ensuring that two-thirds gender rule is attained at both the national and county level. They have also castigated Deputy President William Ruto and his Tanga team for allegedly inciting Kenyans against the BBI report.
This is the message we need to take out to the communities so that the women in the communities, the men in the communities can begin to realize that we are moving into another realm. It is important to look at this document and the benefits of that document and leave alone the issues that are being brought around it, because people are looking at different angling. At the position of improving this society, we need to look at these new changes that we propose that are very, very important.
We are not yet into election mode. Those who are actually not giving service delivery to Kenyans, they should all pack and go, starting from cabinet secretaries. Because the debate in the country is all about BBI and about 2022. But for us who are in the government, BBI is not about 2022. BBI is about having way forward in terms of how we should bring everybody on board in 2022.
Kwa hivyo wakati rais amesema ikiwa jamii fulani walifaulu katika ufalme, wakapata ufalme, wakauonja ufalme, hata wengine sisi minority tunataka kuonja ufalme. The Mijikenda, the Ma community, the Borana, the Somalis, the Ongiek, the Elmolo, the Bajuni, hao wote pia sisi tunataka pia kuonja ufalme, kwa sababu ufalme ni ufalme. Kwani hatujui?
A chief inspector of police and his driver have been shot dead at Kapedo Bridge in Tiaty Sub-County, Baringo this evening. This being the latest killing in the area that has been witnessing clashes in the last few days. Meanwhile, Tiaty Member of Parliament William Kamket has been released by police after he was arrested and interrogated later today. I beg your pardon, earlier today. Joan Maina with the details.
Tiaty MP William Kamket was arrested and released on Thursday at Kileleshwa Police Station in Nairobi. Kamket's arrest comes a day after he joined other leaders from Baringo County and West Pokot, appealing to President Uhuru Kenyatta to intervene on the ongoing security operations in Kapedo. Cliff Ombeta, Kamket's lawyer, has however dismissed claims that the MP was arrested and interrogated in connection with the ongoing banditry attacks in Kapedo. Ombeta says the lawmaker was arrested in connection to another attack that claimed 5 lives, including 3 GSU officers 6 years ago.
An officer, an assistant commissioner of the rank of the assistant commissioner, has been there trying to question him about issues of matter that they are saying is a murder case, but then the facts are not clear, because even the officers seem to be trying to, it is a fishing expedition. They are not certain what they really want, they are not certain what they are looking for, they are not certain what exactly they wanted from him.
After his release, the Tiaty Member of Parliament is scheduled to appear before the Nakuru DCI offices for grilling on the 26th of this month. In Kapedo, 3 journalists from different media stations were evacuated from the Wharton area. The journalists were moved out of the area by police officers and deployed in another area. One police officer's vehicle was also touched down by the bandits amid the unprecedented security operations going on.
Ningesema kama wanahabari na idara za usalama, nataka na ishirikiane na wanahabari katika kila jambo, kwa sababu hii ni operation area. Mwanahabari hana bunduki. Sisi tuko na kamera peke yake, na kalamu na karatasi.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC has confirmed that one of the 6 people found dead in Mairo, Arabal, Baringo County was a member of their staff. Among the people who were abducted by police officers include a human resource officer working with TSC in Tiaty, a primary school headmaster, Brian Silale, an IEBC official, an MTC student, a businessman, and another unidentified man after they were found making merry in a Joan Maina, TV 47.
Now, grief has engulfed the family of Paul Kosgei, who was among the 6 bodies found dead in Arabal area a day after operations against Kapedo attacks began within the constituency. The family, including his 2 wives, are still in total shock and grief as they recount their last moments with their late husband, whose body was found in Arabal, about 100 kilometers away. Nanok Loreen with the details.
The homestead of the late TSC Human Resource Officer Pauline Kosgei, including his 2 wives, is yet to come to terms with his tragic death as a result of the ongoing Kapedo attacks at the Baringo-Turkana border that claimed his life alongside 5 others. His grieved second wife narrates his final moments before he met his death that saw him and 5 others forcefully lodged into a Land Cruiser, only for their bodies to be found in Arabal, about 100 kilometers away.
Na Paul hata kwa hiyo club hakuingia, hata hakuspend more than 1 minute. Sasa ile anaingia na step ndo anakuta hao ma civilians officers wameweka mabinduki juu. Haile amefunga tu gari yake, amepark gari mbali kidogo tu, hata sio mbali hapo tu, ndo ametoka kwa gari, amefunga gari, anafika hapo ndo akaambiwa tu panda juu ya gari na panda juu ya gari haraka. Hivyo Paul akapanda hapo, ndo simu zikashukuliwa wakapelekwa.
According to his first wife, before Kosgei met his death, he received numerous phone calls, some of which she was instructed to put on silent. Her wish is to gather enough courage to inform her children who are unaware of their father's demise.
And even on that Sunday, there were a lot of calls from the same person, whereby alikuwa ananiambia niweke silent nisishike. Niko na watoto wanatoka shule saizi, but just pray God to give me strength because of that.
Paul Kosgei has been described as a jovial man and a peacemaker.
Paul is very jovial. Hakuna siku yatabishana na mtu, akibishana na mtu anampa msamaha inamsumbua. Lakini ile watu wamemuua, acha Mungu atawalipisha. Because he's a very innocent person. Ni chungu Paul vile alikuwa anaongea na watu. Hata walimu walipende kabisa. He can work anywhere. Hata akiwa kwa nyumba sisi tunapokea watu. Tunasaidia. Chungu tu vile wamenulia tu mzee. Watoto wangu wana baba Saida, mimi sina mzee.
The ongoing Kapedo attacks continue to paralyze operations, instill fear among locals, and claim innocent lives. Nanok Loreen, TV 47.
Sad story right there. The fate of school-going children in most slums in the country remain unknown as a number of schools continue to send learners home for school fees. Calvin Chitwa met hundreds of parents in Langas Estate in Eldoret town seeking support and filed the following report.
Make no mistake, this is not a political rally, but approximately 2,000 parents drawn from Langas ward in Eldoret at Langas Primary School to secure bursaries for their children. Despite the huge number, there are only 500 slots available. This means more than 3/4 of this crowd will walk home empty-handed.
Najua hapa ni betting tu. Ni vetting tu yeye ya kufanya nini. Lakini ukienda upewe form, kufika huko ndani ndio mnaenda na kila mtu anaenda na block yake. Ukishafika kwa block nini wanaandika yes na no kwa sababu watu ni wengi. Ukibahatika upate yes, wewe umepata. Usipobahatika tunashukuru tu.
The situation has worsened, forcing many parents to scramble for bursaries meant for students from poor backgrounds.
Wale ambao wamekuja siku ya leo ambao mumeona ni zaidi ya watu 2,000 ambao ni kiwango kikubwa kulinganisha na ward yoyote nyingine yoyote hapa.
Margaret Njoroge is one such cases of unemployed Kenyans and have taken up the responsibility of looking after children who are abandoned by their parents who lost jobs. Many have lost their jobs as the virus crisis continues to ravage the world.
Nilifika hapa saa moja na tangu saa hiyo tuko kwa laini, watu walikuwa wengi.
Naona kuna uwezekano ya kuongeza another 1 million ifike 4 million, lakini kwa sababu hatujafanya appropriation of the intended supplementary budget, leo hii tunagawa 3 milioni ambayo itaweza kufaidi kama watoto 500 peke yake.
Many of the students admitted that their parents have been unable to pay school fees among other responsibilities required by their respective schools.
Nyumbani uwezo hawana, yani ni ile maisha tumeishi hatuwezi kuwa nayo.
Kuja hapa hivi 6 kutafuta hizi basari, but na hope tunatapata hizi basari. Nyumbani tuseme tu hawana uwezo kwa sababu tuko watoto 3 secondary. Sana kwa na matumaini nitapata.
Calvin Chitwa, TV47, Uasin Gishu County.
The Kenya Medical Research Institute has released a new projection dubbed Projections of COVID-19 Cases and Deaths Following Schools Reopenings that projects the possibility of an incoming third wave by mid-March this year. According to the publication, the country could be recognizing a possible 25% increase in COVID-19 cases and deaths due to the school reopening on January 4th. Zainab Mohammed with the details.
Publication dubbed Projections of COVID-19 Cases and Deaths Following Schools Reopening, Kenya Medical Research Institute KEMRI has predicted dark days ahead of Kenya with predictions of an incoming third wave. According to the publication, the cumulative case load, deaths and positivity rates that are at 99,444, 1,736 and 5% as at now respectively are expected to peak by mid-March this year. The publication further predicts that the school reopening move by the government on the 4th of this month could contribute in the rapid increase of COVID-19 cases and deaths by 25%, with about 14,000 new COVID-19 cases and 116 new deaths by June 1st, 2021. The Research Institute further emphasizing that the worst case scenarios could be witnessed should there be laxity in the adherence of COVID-19 protocols in schools. The new predictions further warn that the impacts of other events such as the new variant could increase the COVID-19 rate by 25%, thereby increasing the total number of cases and deaths. The government is, however, hopeful of a COVID-19 vaccine by April this year.
The committee that is in place dealing with the vaccines had a meeting even this morning, looking at the logistics, looking at the distribution, looking at the training, on all the issues that you are raising. I think it is important for us to keep in mind that the African countries, especially where we live in Kenya, the matters of vaccinating are very, very common with us. We carry out children vaccination almost throughout the year. So unlike some countries that don't have a vaccination programs, we do have that. So in terms of the personnel, in terms of the logistics of doing so, I think we are pretty ready to carry it out.
Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
And with that, we take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back with more news.
You are watching TV47, the home of Untold Stories.
Looking for the smoothest writing?
You need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought Untold Stories.
Welcome back. ODM party leader Raila Odinga has continued with his onslaught on Deputy President William Ruto's neutral stand on BBI. Raila, who spoke during an ODM rally in Westlands constituency this afternoon, has further called on Kenyans to read, understand and support the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020 ahead of a looming referendum. David Muthoka reports.
Raila's ODM party took Westlands constituency by storm Thursday afternoon to drum up support for the BBI report. This comes despite the current ban on political gatherings, which saw ODM leaders led by Raila descend full throttle in Kangemi, Mountain View and Kawangware in an attempt to woo residents to back the BBI report.
Pesa itoke juu ije hapo chini. Na hii ambayo inakuja chini 5 kwa 100 na kwenda kwa kila ward development fund.
And just days after Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka was caught in a war of words with Deputy President William Ruto, it was Raila's turn to pick on Ruto, faulting his neutral stand on BBI and 2022 presidential ambitions.
Sasa mnaahidiwa ati mkokoteni, ati siji nini, wilbaro na kadhalika. Ati hiyo ni ukombozi.
His lieutenants did not spare Ruto either.
Uliangalia Kenya, ukachukua pesa ya Kimwarer, ukaweka kwa mfuko. Uliangalia Kenya, ukachukua pesa ya Rordam, ukaweka kwa mfuko. Uliangalia Kenya, Saa zile ulikuwa waziri wa agriculture, ukachukua pesa ukaweka ndani ya socks.
And in what seemed as a plot to pin Ruto further down, the ODM brigade reiterated President Uhuru's remarks during the burial of Musalia Mudavadi's mother, Hannah Mudavadi, that perhaps it is the high time the country adopts a rotational presidency system and bring to an end the vicious Kalenjin Kikuyu presidency cycle.
Sisi wana ODM tunakubaliana na Mheshimiwa Rais. Mheshimiwa Rais amesema kwamba kiti cha urais lazima kipitishwe kwa makabila mengine.
They further called on IEBC to expedite the BBI verification exercise and set in motion another step in the BBI journey. This comes hours after IEBC published the verified BBI signatures for public scrutiny. The campaigns seemingly setting the pace for what is poised to be an intense season of politicking and campaigning ahead of a BBI referendum and next year's general elections. David Muthoka, TV47, Nairobi.
A few hours after he was sworn in as the 46th President of the United States, President Joe Biden has begun an onslaught on key policies and executive orders signed by his predecessor, Donald Trump. Joe Biden signed 15 executive orders majorly revolving around immigration, COVID-19 response, revitalization of America's economy, and tackling climate change. Mwangi Maina reports.
Time to waste, get to work immediately.
Few hours after taking oath of office, America's 46th President Joe Biden signed 15 executive orders, majorly undoing key policies that were put in place by former President Donald Trump. Biden has reinstated ties with the World Health Organization, WHO, as well as continued funding to the organization. President Donald Trump had late last year cut ties with WHO, withdrew membership, as well as cut funding. President Biden has ended the Muslim ban that blocked travel to the United States from predominantly Muslim countries and a number of African countries. He has also ordered visa proceedings for individuals from countries that had been affected and would wish to travel to the USA. Biden has also revoked President Trump's plan to exclude non-American citizens from the census count, as well as the search and deportation of unauthorized immigrants. He also requires the Congress to enact laws paving way for permanent status and grant of citizenship for immigrants, especially those who are taken to the United States at a tender age. Meanwhile, Biden has halted the construction of Trump's border between America and Mexico. Another executive order signed by Biden reinstates America's membership in the Paris Climate Accords. President Trump had withdrawn from the coalition with more than 200 countries determined to tackle climate change by moving away from planet-warming fossils, fuels like coal and natural gas. Former American presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton emphasized Biden's call for unity of Americans, as well as wishing him well in his tenure. At the same time, Biden did not divulge details of the private letter left by President Donald Trump, but said it is a very generous letter. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
The Kenya Union of Nurses has threatened to relaunch regional peaceful demonstrations in 36 counties starting Monday next week. This as Kajiado County nurses call off their strike, joining 10 other counties in not taking part in the nationwide strike.
From Monday, the Kenya National Union of Nurses will organize regional demonstration in all the regions in the country. We will have it here in Nairobi, Coast, Mombasa. We will have it in Nyanza in Kisumu. We will have it in Western in Kakamega, and any other, all other regions shall be decided by the branch management at that level. That in view of the above decisions of the National Governing Council, we advise our members to stay put until a return to work formula is signed by the National Office with the relevant arms of the government. Court Kenya be and is hereby requested to continue supporting NAN, KUKO, and NUMLO to end the strike with a proper return to work formula.
Now, 15 counties have been affected by the second invasion of locusts in the country. The locusts, which devour every plant that they come across, now put Kenya on the verge of a food crisis. But Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya is confident that the government has put in place measures to divert the looming food insecurity. Musaha Salah with the details.
With the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO cautioning of a possible food crisis in East Africa in the coming months as a result of the locust invasion, 15 counties have so far been affected by the second invasion of the locusts that clear off plants and vegetables. Confirming the second invasion in the 15 counties, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya said the second invasion is expected to be bigger than the first, with Munya assuring the country that the government has put in place measures to control the spread of the locusts.
Tunatarajia hili njanga linaweza kuwa mbaya zaidi kwa sababu report tuko nazo zinaonyesha nzige ziko uko nje, hasa mpaka wetu na Ethiopia. Kule kwa Ethiopian Mountains, kwa milima ya Ethiopia huko nyuma, tuna report sa satellites na tueleza nzige ziko hapo nyingi, na kwa sababu ya hali ya hewa hasijafika, zinaweza kufika wakati wowote. Tuko na uwezo wa kuhakikisha hii njanga alija tu haribia mimea na chakula ya ng'ombe, na kule itaharibu pia tunajipanga vile tutasaidia waadhiriwa.
The affected counties include Marsabit, Wajir, Garissa, Tana River, Lamu, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Mandera, Machakos, Kitui, Isiolo, Samburu, Laikipia, Meru and Tharaka Nithi. Each locust can eat its own body weight in a day, and together in a swarm, they can consume in a day as much food as 2,500 people would consume in a year. But the hopper buns, young locusts that are yet to fly, are the most destructive, and when they start flying, they can fly up to 150 kilometers a day, making tracking them a hard task. But CS Munya believes that his team is up to the task.
In our own estimation, we will be more effective now than we were last time. Last time the activities started late, very late. In fact, the swarms, I remember, were already here almost in Kirinyaga. But the capacity again internally is also bigger, and therefore we are more prepared. The government has trained over 500 NYS personnel who have been deployed in all the field bases in the country. 500 more NYS personnel will be trained and deployed in the next 2 months.
Musa Salah, TV 47.
I beg your pardon, that was Musa Salah and not Musaha Salah. And with that, we are taking another short break, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Tonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa.
Strike 7:30 p.m. every Monday. It means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year.
The Kenya Revenue Authority will start levying new tax on digital markets under a new law signed by the President in November and introduced on 1st January 2021. A 1.5% gross transaction value will be charged for all those that use electronic media as marketing platforms online. Mudhoni Maina with the details.
The Finance Act seeks to broaden the income tax net to include income through a digital marketplace. The law defines the digital marketplace as a platform that enables direct interactions between buyers and sellers of goods and services through electronic means. But do content creators understand digital service tax and what these new changes mean for them?
By what I understand from it is that it's a tax that is taxed to a platform that enables buyers and sellers of goods to interact, so they tax that platform.
To be honest, on my YouTube, I'm supposed to monetize it, but I haven't monetized it. So I don't earn anything at the moment from YouTube.
For the years that I've been doing this, I've been able to get partnerships with big brands, a brand like Tusker, gotten a brand like Bidco.
Basically, the tax, because it was not there before.
When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. and the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks, restaurant reviews, and even street foods. Tune in to The Throwdown every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. When the clock strikes 7:30 p.m. every Monday, it means it's time for...
The biggest challenge of starting a business in Kenya is the layers of licenses you need to pay.
The Grind. We tell you the do's and don'ts of business.
But the biggest fear was whether I'm going to make it in business or whether I'll lose my 150,000.
I say business is not about how much capital you have.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. It's been an amazing year in the kitchen here on The Throwdown. We brought you ugali and brown fish by Sophia. The tasty butter chicken from the classic Mayura restaurant. And the sweet Oreo cake dessert by Lillian. This year, we bring you bigger and better from more mouth-watering meals, kitchen hacks.
Claimed that the young man was killed after a confrontation with a night guard. Willie Dennis Njiru with the details.
It has been 4 days of mourning for the family of John Mungai following the untimely death of their last-born son, Eliud Mungai, who is alleged to have succumbed to an injury inflicted by a night guard.
Nikaanza kumuita nimuuliza kwa nini anafungua dirisha. Nikasikia yeye haitiki. Nikamuita tena kitu kama mara 4. Nikaona tu amenyamaza. Kwa hivyo nikagonga mlango ukafunguka, nikaingia ndani. Kuingia ndani ndio nilimkuta amelala juu ya kitanda na hakuongea. Kwanza hapo nikatoka nje, nikaanza kupiga nduru.
Afu nikaamuka bio, nikaenda nikamwangalia pale alikuwa amelala, haongei. Nikaona kama tayari amekufa lakini alikuwa bado, tukamchukua haraka na tukaenda hospitali.
Eyewitness account told that the deceased had attempted to slap the night guard after the motorbike they aboard slip off, and in retaliation, the night guard brandished his baton, hitting him on the head.
Picha ya x-ray ilisema alikuwa amepigwa na alikuwa amepigwa vibaya. Vile alikuwa amegogwa vibaya na kitu sio kitu ya kukata. Ni kitu yenye iligonga lakini haikukata, iligonga alafu akaanza kubulide na ndani ya kichwa.
Efforts to save their 28-year-old son proved futile following the damages and complications inflicted.
Kufika Nazareth wakamwangalia, wakatuambia huyo anatakikana picture ya kichwa. Na hawana hiyo picture. Kwa hivyo tukamchukua mpaka Kijabi.
Sasa daktari ndio alimpiga picha, akatuambia amegogwa kichwa na amekaa muda mrefu sana kama hajatibiwa na sasa imekuwa too much. Sasa ndio tukakaa dakika kidogo ndio Kinuthia akaaga.
The deceased will be buried on Friday at their family land in Limuru, but the mother has forgiven the assailant.
Kwangu mimi nimesamehe, ikiwa ni mtu amemgonga nimsamehe. Kwa sababu hata nikisema kuna kitu nataka siwezi pata mtoto wangu tena. Kile tunataka ikiwa ni mtu amemgonga aombe tu msamaha. Kwa sababu hata nikisema ati nataka hivi na hivi sitapata mtoto wangu tena.
Reporting for TV47 from Gesha village in Kiambu County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
And now we head over to the world of sports with our very own Dennis Otieno. Dennis, who won today? Who lost? Who is on top? Who has gone lower?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Ruth Mulandi. Now, with the question that you've asked, who won, who lost, of course, this is what sports is all about, results. Now, tonight, we'll be telling you about the National Olympics Committee and its thoughts on Kenyan athletes in as far as their preparations for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics go. Also, a strike that has been imposed by FIFA upon a recently conceptualized European Super League that poses a major threat on the UEFA Champions League. Now, we'll also be telling you about results registered in the English Premier League Match Week 19 and what to expect in the same competition that takes shape later on tonight. Now, this and more coming up in just a bit. A very warm welcome to Primetime Sports. My name is Dennis Otieno, and on to the top story in sports. The National Olympic Committee Chairman Paul Tergat has lauded preparations by Kenyan athletes ahead of the July Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. Tergat, who is the first Kenyan man to set a record marathon world record, is confident that Kenya will star at the global showpiece, which was postponed last year due to COVID-19 pandemic. The 51-year-old former athlete spoke at the Sweepstake Knock sponsorship launch on Thursday here in Nairobi.
And I'm happy when I see these young captains, sportsmen with us here this morning. It shows that Team Kenya, I can say, yes, we are coming, yes, we are going to perform. And I'm happy that when I see them here, it is a signal